We often talk about the abolition of slavery as one of the great moral victories in human history. And, of course, it absolutely was. But what if it was also something else? What if it was the single most important strategic decision that turned America into a superpower? Today, we're going to explore a very different version of history.
So let's just dive right into that question. What if slavery never ended? How would that one single decision have completely changed everything we think we know about the United States today?
Okay, so picture this. It's December 18th, 1865. The 13th Amendment, the one that's supposed to abolish slavery forever, is on the table. But in our alternate timeline, something goes wrong. At the very last second, Congress backs down. The amendment fails, and just like that, slavery remains the law of the land in huge parts of the country.
Now, to really get your head around the scale of this, we have to talk numbers. We're talking about 4 million people, 4 million human beings kept in perpetual forced labor.
And that 4 million? That wasn't some tiny fraction. That was 13% of the entire US population at the time. So this isn't some fringe issue we're talking about. It's a foundational pillar of this alternate America's whole society and its economy.
So what's the first domino to fall in this alternate reality? Well, it's the economy. You might think, hey, free labor sounds like a recipe for getting rich, right? But in the long run, it's actually a blueprint for complete and total stagnation. It absolutely kills progress. And this slide really lays out the two incredibly different paths. On one side, you have an economy built on slavery. There's just no incentive to innovate, so it gets completely stuck in the past. But on the other side, the industrial path we actually took, that was all about automation, competition, and it led to this massive global boom. And this right here is the absolute heart of the problem. It's a simple and, frankly, brutal piece of logic. While Europe is automating all its factories and just leaping into the future, this version of America is stuck. There's no industrial revolution because the main motivation for one has been completely wiped out. So without that powerful drive to innovate, America just never has its industrial boom. It doesn't just stagnate, it gets left in the dust by the rest of the world. It never becomes the world's #1 economy, not even close.
Okay, so a stagnant economy leads directly to the next catastrophic failure, a powerless military. It's simple, really. A nation that's so fundamentally divided against itself just cannot project power onto the world stage. And just look at how this cascades through the 20th century. In 1914, how do you motivate an enslaved population and all those who sympathize with them to go fight and die for a flag that doesn't represent them? You can't. Then by 1945, without civil rights, you just don't get the world's class universities you need for something like the Manhattan Project. So no atomic bomb. And that means America isn't the one dictating terms after World War II. That power vacuum, it gets filled by others, like the USSR and Europe. So a weak economy and a broken military are bad enough. But now the rest of the world starts to treat America exactly as it deserves, like a total outcast, a pariah state. The consequences here would be just devastating. The modern world, which has already abolished slavery, would hit the US with crippling trade sanctions. Immigration, the very lifeblood of American growth, dries up completely. I mean, who would want to move to a country where people can literally be property? The whole idea of the American dream becomes a sick joke, and the nation loses any and all moral authority on the world stage.
Can you even imagine the national identity? It would become this absurd defensive posture. This quote just captures the moral bankruptcy of it all perfectly. You can almost hear a commentator trying to spin it, and it's horrifying. Now, while America is failing on the world stage, things at home are completely falling apart. The social fabric doesn't just fray, it violently rips itself to shreds.
Look, you just can't keep millions of people in bondage and not expect resistance. It's impossible. So in this reality, slavery means constant rebellion. The American South wouldn't be some peaceful region of quaint plantations. It would be a permanent, brutal, bloody war zone of uprisings and violent suppression. The whole country just collapses internally. You'd have open warfare breaking out in the South, and up north, non-stop, massive protests. A second civil war isn't just possible, it's practically inevitable. And this time it would be fought with the terrifyingly efficient weapons of the 20th century, like machine guns. So the bottom line of this whole dark timeline is this. America either completely collapses into a bunch of warring states,
Or if it survives, it's as this harsh, isolated, second-tier nation, just a shadow of what it could have been. And this brings us all the way back to our reality. Because when you see that horrifying alternate future, it becomes so clear. Abolishing slavery was so much more than just a moral decision. It was a fundamentally strategic decision. It was the choice that unlocked America's true potential and paved the way for its rise as a global superpower. You can almost think of it as this huge, multifaceted investment in the nation's future. It was a business move because it forced innovation and industrialization. It was a science move that allowed for the creation of elite, world-class universities. And it was a geopolitical move that gave America the moral authority it needed to lead the world. And that leaves us with this really powerful, almost jarring thought. In the cold, hard calculus of history, freedom wasn't just the right thing to do. It was profitable. It turned out to be the single best investment the United States ever made, the one that unlocked all the wealth, power, and influence we associate with it today. It's a fascinating and pretty crucial way to reframe how we look at our own history.